it's now time to escape reality and head back to Fiji for another recap of season 45 of Survivor. Okay, first thought, all right. Loving this season.
It has been good.
Hate the end of this episode. We'll get there.
Agreed.
Have a lot of thoughts on that, yes. Okay, so first things first in this episode, we see the tribe swap happen. And the really cool thing about this tribe swap is it's kind of an infamous aspect to the game of Survivor, but they have not done a pre-merge tribe swap in this new era, as they call it. So it's really exciting because just think about a tribe swap. Everything you've known and you've been doing since you started the game is just completely awry now. Yeah, all the alliances you have may be shaken up. The maybe power you had at your tribe or within your alliance is now also gone and questionable. So it's really interesting. I think the most interesting thing about the swap specifically was we saw Lulu goes down to 3 in the former episode, and all 3 of them are put on different tribes. So they're just like really just put to the test in this, which I thought was really interesting.
What's funny is after Tribal, Sean was even like, I'm praying for a tribe swap.
Yes.
And then it instantly
happens,
basically.
Yeah. So, and you know, the other thing I really like about a tribe swap is that it just challenges you and puts you, it really tests the kind of player you are, which I think is interesting.
Your social skills, basically.
Yes.
Because you have to make all new connections with a whole new group of people. Because
well,
people you might
and if you're fortunate enough to make the merge, which is probably just a few weeks away, I'm guessing, or a few episodes away.
You have to do it all over again.
Yes, you have to do it all over again. But also then, if you play your cards right, you've got plenty of alliances and plenty of good gameplay from the first part of the season. So it just works out really well. Then we go to the immunity challenge, which first of all, this immunity challenge looked horrible. I would not want to do this. They carry this, like they have to unhook this massive cage in the water and then carry it up on land. And I don't remember how the challenge ended. Maybe there was like a puzzle or something.
So they had to get the corner over like stumps and line it up. And then they had to go unhook the balls and they toss them back to their team and get them into 3 different nets.
Okay.
Over, like still inside that big not basket, but you know.
But it was kind of like a hoop or whatever, so what's interesting about this, is that because some of those Lulu members were split up, is some of them win immunity for the first time this season, which is also kind of the beauty of the tribe swap. So I guess, I don't know what this new tribe is, which one it is, but the one that's like mostly former Red and then Sean is the one that ends up losing. Okay, Reba, yes. So they're the ones that end up losing. They're the ones that end up going to tribal council. Okay, before we get into the tribal council, let me just say, things were looking really good for Sean, if we're being honest, because you have Sean and 4 like Reba members that were already on the tribe or whatever coming together, but you can see that there's a crack. So you've got D, Julie, Jay, and then Sifu. And you can tell that the women are kind of ready to go after Sifu because they kind of think he's annoying, they think he's kind of a threat, they don't really trust him. So they're like, Sean, just side with us and we'll get Sifu out. So great standings here, right? Also, what's interesting is you can tell based off the dynamics of how this episode is kind of edited that Jay and D and Julie, like D and Julie were a strong duo in the old tribe. And you can tell like there's kind of some shifts there too. Like they weren't really close and they're kind of like forced to work together now out of this like, I guess, agreed upon hate against Sifu, which is kind of interesting. Okay, so we get to tribal council. And it seems very clear that Sifu is probably the one that's going to go because the ladies and Sean now have kind of agreed this is what's going to happen.
And the ladies even told Sean, we're gonna like go against you verbally, but we're not voting
because we want Sifu to be blindsided. We don't want him to know. But then at tribal council, Sean, out of literal nowhere.
Unexpected.
There was no inkling of him saying anything similar to this before on any other episode. Sean starts crying and gives this whole speech about how he feels like he is just ready to go. He's ready to be reunited with his husband back at home. He doesn't want to be on the island. He can see how hard the 4 remaining on the tribe are fighting to be there, and he doesn't feel like he has that same fight. And so he is basically asking to leave. Now, 2 interesting things about this, First of all, I can't stand quitters, especially on Survivor, because I'm like, why did you sign up?
You know what it is,
You know what it is. Also, like, I have no idea the numbers of people that apply, but I have to imagine it's like astronomical.
Probably thousands.
And for someone like this to just like rob someone else of that opportunity is really annoying. Also, what's funny about this is that D, kind of proven to be a strong player throughout this season, you see her kind of mouthing that, like, indirectly she's applying that even though Sean is saying he wants to go, Dee doesn't care. She's like, we're still voting out Sifu. So this is what's interesting. So the vote happens. You've got Julie, Jay, and Sifu vote out Sean like he requests. Sean votes out Dee, which was interesting.
Yeah, that was interesting.
And then Dee still votes for Sifu.
When they did that, I was like, why?
Yeah.
You know, you should have known everybody was going to vote for Sean.
I didn't really understand that either. And what I thought was fascinating about it is, so Sean ends up going, obviously. But now I feel like this is going to cause a rift between Dee and Julie, who have been really good friends since the start. So I'm like, that's going to be a little crack, which is interesting.
Sifu's going to be like, they're after me.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's just, the whole thing is just so aggravating, like I said. What else is really funny, final thought here, is I was reading an article that said, in some exit press, Sean instantly regretted his decision. And I'm like, well, go figure.
Yeah.
But also, insider tip if you didn't know. So on Survivor, obviously if you make the merge, you're on jury till the end. But pre-merge, you're forced to stay there until the merge happens. And then you actually stay. They typically move you countries and you stay because they never want it to be spoiled who wins.
Yeah, I mean, if you go home, they're going to know. People are going to be like, oh, yeah, you didn't make it.
I'm like, it's silly that you want to be reunited with your husband because you're still not going to see him for like 4 weeks.
Right.
So why wouldn't you just stay in the game?
Exactly.
Very frustrating. Super. It makes me so mad. I heard on a podcast that Jeff was also really annoyed about this.
Of the 4 people who've gone home, half of them have quit.
Yeah.
I wonder if casting will start to kind of reevaluate with these seasons going forward now that so far half of our people have quit.
So what's interesting about that is actually I was listening to the official Survivor podcast or whatever, On Fire, and after Hannah quit in the first quit in the first episode, Jeff actually said their first thought was they called the casting director and they were like, we made a mistake and we need to do better moving forward. These are things we need to look for. So I thought that was really interesting. Yeah. Anyway, this season is super fascinating. Hopefully no more quitters. Excited to see what tonight holds. So as always, Survivor, brand new episodes Wednesdays on CBS or Paramount Plus. Do not miss it.